Hello and welcome back to another Out of Spec motoring video. This one's wild, it's a last minute trip. You join me here at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island, Florida. We're just finishing up the Concours d'Elegance. It's been an amazing event. We drove so many cool cars. Take a look at our sister channel, Out of Spec Reviews, to see reviews of old classic Volkswagen things all the way to new Rolls-Royce Ghosts and Lucid Airs. Pretty amazing. But in this video, we are taking, and by we, it's literally just me. Everyone flew home, Timon's flying home, and I said, hey, Volkswagen, we're here with you guys. You have one of the only ID.4 Pro, the base cars, in the press fleet here. They gave it to Timon, which I thought was really funny. Everyone else that came with Volkswagen got all first editions or Pro S's. Timon got the base one. But I was really happy, so I said, hey, let's take the ID.4 Pro on a road trip from here in Florida all the way to Fort Collins, Colorado. And Volkswagen said, sure, we don't care. So that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna leave here. I missed my flight this morning intentionally. I'm jumping in this ID.4 Pro. This is the $39,000 car. It has 0 options. It gets 260 miles of EPA range. Because of these smaller wheels, you get a little bit more range, less rolling resistance, less aero drag. Still has the CCS charging port, of course, so 125 kilowatt peak DC power. We're gonna see the taper points. Taper's right at 45%, but we're gonna probably charge to 60 or 70% along the way. We have tons of trunk space. I have it with all of our camera gear and stuff, so Timon didn't have to drive home with everything. We got this loaded up, and it's just gonna be me, the ID.4, Electrify America, and free charging to get me back to Fort Collins. It's currently 1 in the afternoon, and I have no idea when I'll get home, but we'll find out. Let's go. You join me here in the ID.4 where I have plugged in home 1,808 miles away. Inside, the Pro is a little different than the cars we've driven together. So we have cloth seats that I really actually like. They feel nice, super comfortable. No glass roof in the base car, but it does have travel assist as standard. So if I scroll over here, it will do lane centering and get us down the highway, sort of like a little mini autopilot. And it's a capacitive steering wheel, so you don't even need to put torque into it. You just need to touch it to tell it you're paying attention. That'll become really handy. Of course, we have wireless charging and all the other good stuff that's nice from ID.4. You can set all the interior ambient lighting however you want. But what do you say we jump on the road, figure out our first charging stop along the route, and then head there and get into the groove of road tripping? So, leaving the Jacksonville airport with 62% state of charge. Again, this is the 77 kilowatt hour usable. It's 82 installed, I believe, capacity on the battery pack. So 77 kilowatt hours. We have 156 miles of projected range. I'm going to put the car in eco mode right now. And we could go basically going over to Colorado. So we need to go west and a little bit north. So in Jacksonville, we could go straight across to Lake City, Electrify America, and then Valdosta, Georgia. Valdosta, Georgia's one up. We're going to do the one up. It's 128 miles there. We have 156 miles of projected range. There's 2 different routes. There's a longer route that takes the highway that's technically faster. There's a shorter route that's scenic that was only like 8 minutes longer. I think we're going to do that because we save over 20 miles. And looks like it's going to be a scenic back road. So let's start this trip off right, see some scenery, and hope you enjoy the views over to Georgia, where we're heading to our first Electrify America charging stop. We are getting pretty close to our charger, just about to cross into Georgia right over here. If you take a look up, let's focus. There we go. Welcome to Georgia. Look at that. It says, we're glad Georgia's on your mind. Well, glad to be in Georgia. Anyway, when you hit 10% state of charge in the Volkswagen, you finally get a percentage display here on the screen and mileage. Normally, you just get your mileage guessometer range. Basically, it's predicting its mileage based off your driving history. This is different than a Tesla, where Teslas will predict your range based off of a set constant, the EPA rated range of the vehicle, which is harder to achieve. There's pluses and minuses. One of the minuses we've seen right here. We've been driving this car around Amelia Island all weekend, getting probably close to 300 miles on a charge, if not more. So as soon as we jumped up on the highway and started to use more juice, well, what started with a big gap in between our predicted range to the charging station to Valdosta is now squeezing. So rather than doing 80 miles an hour like when I started off, I've had to back it down to 75, 76 miles an hour. So pretty neat. Says, you get your battery light on at 10%. This pops on and we'll make it just fine. 22 miles predicted, 16 miles there. That's plenty of range. We are now at 4% state of charge. We're just backing down on our power limit. So you can see just over here at the end, the car is saying, hey, the total available power is a little less as I drive off the road. Let's put it back on travel assist. And now it's doing lane centering. Nice. Gotta say, for the Pro, the base car, I know I mentioned it at the beginning of this video, but man, this thing is lovely. It's so well built. It's so quiet. I'm saying this just as my personal opinion. I really think this is one of the best value cars on the market. We're going to see how well it road trips, though. We're about to reach our first charger. If my opinion's different at the end of this video, well, then that's just because it doesn't road trip well. But my opinion, my guess, I should say, is this is going to be a pretty smooth and easy road trip. I've yet to have an issue with an ID.4 on Electrify America, other than when the stations weren't working. So I'm fingers crossed for a pretty good showing here. So I guess this is our exit. Let's take it. I'll see you over at the Walmart. And we are arriving to the Walmart here in somewhere in Florida. Oh no, wait, we're in Georgia. So many police on the highway, by the way. They must have been doing some like speed trap major deal, because there was about a cop every 3 miles for like the last 10 miles. It was crazy. And I mean, like 6 of them lined up at a time. So let's think about where the charge port is on this car. It is on the back passenger side. So I'm going to pull in here, and we're going to use this station. So let's just pull up and hope we don't crash it. It says 8 miles remaining. Beautiful day out here, just above 90 degrees actually. Let's get this thing charging up. So I'm going to open up our J1772 and CCS charging flap. Someone told me that there's a little place I can rest this, and I think it's here. And yeah, I think it kind of just goes, I don't know, not going to fiddle with that. That can dangle. If I owned one, I would pull that port off instantly. I don't want that cover. So we are at a 150 kilowatt station. Again, the ID.4 only takes 125 kilowatts. So let's plug it in, and any station, any EA station that has greater 150 or greater can max this thing out. All right, I've swiped on the app to start charging. Let's take our CCS cable over, plug it in. Oh, that was like the nicest engagement and smoothest CCS plug-in I think I've genuinely ever had. So let's see what we got going on here. It's initiating charging, and it is, ramping up cable cooling. Hear that? So that's the coolant going through the cable here to cool that down. Contactors just clicked. We're at high speed cable cooling. Let's see how much communication's been done. Everything should be talking to each other just fine. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I'm saying this in good luck. Okay, this is good. So normally what you would do is you would use your Volkswagen Pass on the Electrify America app, and it'd be free charging for 3 years. Volkswagen is going to email me the login for this particular car, but I'm just paying for it with my own account right now, which is fine. 3% state of charge, 66 kilowatts. It should ramp up. There's 125 as advertised. How about that? Man, this thing pulls 120 plus kilowatts from 0%. It's pretty impressive. And this is my favorite color. I believe it's Moonstone Gray. Anyway, this is the best color. The only problem with this color is you cannot get the light color seats. This with the gray seats would be awesome, but unfortunately Volkswagen ordering doesn't doesn't let you do that. So my friend Dustin Krause, who I've done interviews with on Out of Spec Reviews, he was in charge of contenting this car, so you can all blame Dustin for that. I'm sure it's not his fault, because he and I agree that would be the perfect combination. So anyway, look at this thing, looks good. The Pro has different headlights as well, so you get this sort of light signature that comes all the way around here, and this all lights up, which is different than the Pro S and above, or first edition. The Pro S also has a light up Volkswagen badge. This one doesn't, but I think this looks the best during the day with this sort of light bar, and it's a different headlight unit. So tonight, let's keep an eye on how bright those headlights are, since I was just driving the first edition with the full LED headlights. These are still LED. We have some Hankook Kinergy all-season tires. They're specifically made for EVs. You can see the EV designation down here in the bottom. The fans just kicked on the ID.4 to help cool it down. Let's take a look at charging power, since this is the first time that I've charged an ID.4 in hot weather. We're already at 7% state of charge. That's pretty good. And squatted truck going by with a straight pipe. That's how you know we're in the South. Touch to return, okay. Yeah, it's a little glitchy, takes a while. Yeah, there we go. 128 kilowatts, more than advertised, but of course 125 is probably going into the battery. The leftover, the 3 kilowatts extra, is probably going to thermal management of the ID.4. Anyway, I'm gonna run into Walmart. I don't know what we're gonna charge up to here. When I'm inside, I'll take a look around on my app and see where we might want to stop next on the route that we're heading to, and we'll just figure it out station to station. Well, folks, I wasn't paying attention, but we have our first issue. Oh no, I was hoping this wouldn't be the case. 32 kilowatts at 22%. That doesn't make sense. It's been doing this for a little while. So, man. All right, so let's just do an unplug and replug in with that connector right there, and I bet it will just ramp up. Not sure why this is the case. I don't know if it's the car requesting that much power because it's a hot day, or it's a communication issue, or what's going on. I'm not going to try and speculate. I just know that 32 kilowatts at 22% is not good. This car can do 125 kilowatts all the way into the 40% range. So let's stop charging. Boop. And let's plug in the other one. Oh no, this is not going to be this trip. We are going to have a good trip on Electrify America with the Volkswagen ID.4, a Volkswagen product with a Volkswagen charging network. This is going to work wonderfully. I'm just putting that energy out. Let's plug this thing in and get it charging. Okay, I've plugged in here at the 350 kilowatt charger. It doesn't make a difference. Again, this can pull the power. Uh-oh, I see a red light and I've initiated charging. What does it say? Charging start error. Oh, I saw in PlugShare someone else had issues with number 3. Looks like we're all connected here. The cable cooling's making a weird noise like it's not running. Maybe it's just cool enough where it doesn't need to run. It says, thank you for choosing Electrify America, and we're already at 71 kilowatts. Let's wait for the refresh, because sometimes we don't get the full story until the screen refreshes. 127. So not the car requesting that little power. That was a charging station error. I mean, look, maybe not, but this is how I determined it, right? So if the car had pulled, again, 32 kilowatts here, my guess would be it was the car requesting that little power. So potentially something got hot in the charging system over there, or there was just a little bit of a bug. Either way, we're back to charging at 127 kilowatts. Although the cable cooling's really quiet, it's working just fine, and we're still at 127. So I'll keep an eye on this in the car, but there is a little bit of an issue in the car. It's not a huge deal, which is the car doesn't show you the kilowatt power that you're charging with. It shows you in miles per minute. And I talked to my friend Dustin about this, and he said this might get updated in the future where you can just touch this and it'll show you kilowatts. Purely a software thing. The car knows how much energy it's taking. But at least I know 7 miles per minute is 127 kilowatts. So that's, at least if it shows 6 or 7, I know we're getting good speed. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Well, we're heading up towards Atlanta, and then after Atlanta, Chattanooga. So still charging up here at 71%, roughly at about 70 kilowatts, just under, I think 66, 67. So car's happy to charge. It showed 105 degrees up here on the dash. I don't actually think it's that hot outside. It's toasty, but that temperature sensor was a little optimistic as to how warm it was. Anyway, really nice and cool in here. I have to say, one of the most impressive parts of ID.4 for me is how amazingly cold the air conditioning is. I have this thing set to like 75 degrees because it's just ice cold coming out. Pretty interesting. Anyway, let's talk charging stops and how we're going. Now, I don't know how far we'll make it tonight. It's 5:30 p.m. right now. I may have drank a little bit too much last night and not feeling my best. Totally fine to drive, of course, but definitely like need some recovery time. With that said, though, I'm still fine to drive, feeling great. Got my Starbucks, of course, you know I can't live without this. And since I've been drinking that, man, have I just become a totally different and much happier person. So we have a charging stop on the way to Atlanta. The next one's 86 miles up the road. By the time I finish sending off some emails and getting camera gear all reorganized, I already had about 140 miles of predicted range. So I said, okay, well, let's see what the next one is at that point. Now, we're not charging at 128 kilowatts, the maximum that we can. We're charging at 67, 68, which isn't ideal. What I'd love to do is just charge until it tapers and then head to the next one. However, we had already charged enough where right now we have 167 miles predicted, and it's exactly 167 miles to our charging stop. We're at 73% state of charge. So if I leave now, theoretically, driving the same way, I'd pull in with 0. I think we charge to 80, 85%. So that's another 6 to 10% extra, roughly. And then we'll just head out and go. The nice thing about ID.4 is it doesn't fall off a cliff at 80%, just smoothly tapers down. And honestly, that 80 to 100% time on this charging curve isn't bad. If you're curious, when I mention charging curve, what it actually is, I have a whole in-depth charging curve analysis video on our Out of Spec Reviews channel. Just look up on YouTube ID.4 charging curve and it'll pop right up, I'm sure. At least I hope. If YouTube likes us, you'll find the video. So yeah, maybe another 5 minutes here, 10 minutes, something like this, and we'll be on the road. By the way, let's take a look at some stats before we leave on that first stretch. So we drove 3 hours, 15 minutes, average of 52 miles an hour. We used 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Honestly, not terrible considering the speeds. I also believe it's been tracking our energy usage while we haven't been moving and slowly whittling this down. I think that is the case. So not totally sure, but even here, 220 miles, 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So that's about what this car does, apparently. Anyway, we'll just keep an eye on it whenever I remember to check it at chargers so we can see the efficiency in these temperatures. Again, yeah, still, this thing thinks it's hot. We are at 82% state of charge right now. I really like the screen here. This is nice. The Pro gets all this black trim, and honestly, I think it looks just as good as the Pro S or the first edition. Really impressed with the base car quality and content here. I think I'm gonna go unplug us here at 83 to 85%. We have 190 miles projected, only 167 to go. I think that's plenty, and let's rock and roll, shall we? We have arrived in Forsyth, Georgia with 8% state of charge. Here we are. It looks like we're at charger number 2. So I'm going to get out the Electrify America app, activate charger number 2, and plug this thing in. Here we are. It says, please plug in. Okay, let's grab the cable. Let's plug it in. Nice warm days. These cables are easy to manage. When it's cold outside, these cables get quite stiff and they're hard to move, but that was an easy plug-in. We're definitely connected. The charger says initiating charging. The Volkswagen's blinking white here. It means it's communicating. Ooh, fans are on. Cable cooling's ramping. If things go well, we should hear the secondary level of cable cooling here in a second. It'll go whoop. There it goes. And so now we're all handshake communication still happening. Contactors just clicked on the car and the charger, and I think we are charging. Yes, and pretty simple process. Let's head over and see how much power we're actually charging with here. So continue. You don't want to hit continue twice because it's also in the same position as the stop charging button. Design flaw. All right, so 69 kilowatts, 126 kilowatts. Nice. Maxing this thing out. This is how it should be. First try, and we are good to go as expected. Look at this thing. Looks nice. A couple little bug splatters here on the front, but that means it's just a good road tripping car. Hey, I'm gonna see if I can try and turn these headlights on. I kind of want to see what they look like because they're different than the first edition that I tested. Let's see, we're at 9% now already. Looking good. Let's go headlights. It's parking lights. It won't let you turn them on. It says please switch off the lights. Hold on, let's see if we can force the car on with the little start button over here. Now the car is on, and now the headlights are on. Doesn't look like there's any poor cold weather lights in this. Oh, I got out of the seat. So start button again. Now the car is on without my weight in the seat. Looks like the headlights are on. Let's see what these things look like. Yep, still LED, of course. Just more of a reflective LED than a projector LED, it seems. Doesn't look bad, honestly. For a base headlight unit, is that a bad thing? No, I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a look as to what they look like with just the parking lights on. So that's just parking lights now. And here you get the light band inside the light there. You can see it just comes over here, but I don't believe this is lit on the base one. I believe it is just in the headlight housings, but I think that looks fine. I think it's a good looking headlight unit and not that dissimilar from the upgraded model. In the US, we only get the base taillights no matter the model. In Europe, they get the really cool fancy 3D taillights, but we only get the base unit here for our silly FM VSS stuff. But overall, I'm just so thrilled with how this car drives. Let's take a look at our charging power. Already at 12%, still doing 128 kilowatts. Loving it, living the dream. Perfect day here, really nice sunset over the Walmart. This is great. I was briefly talking about how well this car drives, and I actually think the Pro is a little bit nicer to drive than even the first edition or the Pro S because of these wheels and tires. With a wider tire, of course, with I should say a larger tire profile, it can soak up some bumps a little bit better. It's pretty quiet. You almost hear nothing on the road. I've always said ID.4 is kind of like a cheap e-tron because it gives you that same sense of solidity and build quality. And on Pro S and above, you get massaging seats. This one doesn't have it, but I do like this cloth seat option, and I think the seat even lets you get a little bit lower inside the car. So no complaints from me, and I'm loving this color. This is turning out to be a pretty fun trip. Great to drive. Travel assist is awesome, and a lot of looks on the road. A lot of people looking at this thing. I also love the Volkswagen key. Look how nice that is. Very premium. So I just ran in and used the restroom at the Walmart here. We're already up to 41%. I swear, I walked in, peed, came out. We're 41%. That's pretty good. I gotta say, that's not bad. This works. This is probably a really good package. We're down to 113 kilowatts here at 41%. And the next charger that I want to go to, so basically there's a whole bunch of chargers in LA, where am I thinking? Atlanta. And so what I thought was, let's get on the other side of Atlanta, charge up very quickly on the way to Chattanooga. It's only 180 or 190 miles from here in Forsyth to the Chattanooga Electrify America station. We can do that in this car, but that requires a really deep charge. I was thinking we'd charge up to maybe 45, 50% to where it tapers, and then we'll just run to the next station and get max speeds again and do a little charger hopping on the way to Chattanooga. Now, charger hopping doesn't have such a huge effect on the ID.4 unless the distances are really long, and that's because it can hold a pretty high percentage of its max power pretty deep into the pack. I mean, 60%, you're still doing somewhere over 80 kilowatts on a car that can max charge at 120, so, or 125. It's not like you're really saving that much time like a Tesla, where it can do like 250 kilowatts at the bottom and then you're down to like 60 kilowatts later on in the pack. But I think most people are probably just going to charge these to 80% and then head to their next destination. But I think let's try a little out of spec road tripping here early on in the trip. Figure out if this works. We're down to 170 or 107 kilowatts. We're at 44%. I'm thinking we should go again under 90 miles to our next destination. The car is predicting 110 miles of range, and I was like ripping it on the way over here trying to burn juice because I overcharged at the previous one. So let's unplug now. That was this super easy charging stop and head to the other side of Atlanta. I think it's just on the north end of Marietta where we're heading. So coming over this way down to 103. Yeah, we're tapering pretty quick. So stop charging and wait for it to stop. Stopped. Release. And we are good to go. Yeah, if I owned one of these, I'd remove this little silly flap that's annoying because you have this cover here anyway. So close we go and off to the next charger in Marietta, Georgia. This was a super easy stop, absolutely perfect, as I hope this trip goes. Again, haven't received the app information. It was only $3.70 to charge. Everyone says EA is expensive, and that's only in certain states, charging certain ways. Let's rock and roll. Welcome to Marietta, Georgia. We have arrived around 11%. Let's check the data. Since charge, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, 81 miles. Man, this thing was pretty efficient because I was just absolutely bombing through Atlanta traffic. It was awesome. So let's get this thing plugged in. Looks like some screens are dead over here. This one's missing some LEDs. Could use a little bit of service and upkeep. But overall, all is looking pretty good. And I believe, at least on the app, it says all of these chargers are available and working. Anyway, we're at number 6. So let me open up the Electrify America app, get this thing plugged in. All right, here we go. And we are in. It says it's initiating charging. This is a really nice install. I believe it's a 10-bank install here. Just northwest of Atlanta, really huge. This is what we need to see. I'm the only one here. Super interesting. I suspect in a very short period of time, these are going to start to get filled up, but it looks like Electrify America is already working on that. So I'm going to let this charge up because Chattanooga will be the next stop, but I am hungry. And I'm just in the middle of an empty parking lot. So I don't know what I'm gonna do for food. I have chosen to use Electrify America for most of my charging on this trip for one main reason: charging speed. They are consistently hosting 150 kilowatt and higher charging stations, except for very select few stations that are limited to 50 kilowatts. And I believe all of those have or are in the process of getting updated to at least 150 kilowatt stations. So I don't have to go, oh, it's an EV Go station. Is it one of those older 120 amp units, 125 amp units that can only do maybe 40, 50 kilowatts at best on something like this? Or is it a ChargePoint CPE 250 that are very reliable, but usually only do between 50 and 62.5 kilowatts? I've seen like 75, 100, and 150 kilowatt installs, but generally those are pretty low power, and it just removes a lot of hassle. I know when I get to an Electrify America station, while it is known for having some bugs and issues, hopefully it's getting better. So far my experience is getting better, if last charging session is anything to go by. Very rarely do I ever think, oh, I won't be able to charge here. Maybe I'll have a bug here or there, but I know at least between all of the chargers installed at the locations, I'll be able to play around with it, try different plugs, and then worst case scenario, I'll call Electrify America's support, who's always very helpful and honestly very supportive, and they'll give me some suggestions and restart chargers, and we'll get going. So at least in the last while, I've not been able to not charge at an EA station. So that's generally why I prefer them. The app is so much less convoluted than PlugShare, where PlugShare will show you anything from a 24 kilowatt unit all the way up to a 350. There is a new option in PlugShare now where you can filter by showing available chargers. And you can also use a better route planner, but generally I like to plan my stop to stop. A better route planner is a great idea at the beginning of the trip for me, and it might be something a normal person would follow. It just comes down to, I don't want something telling me what to do at the start of the trip. I want it to calculate in real time based off my driving. And because there's no baked in a better route planner in this car or a service such as that, I do all that calculations in my head and change our route around. Right now, the ID.4 does not add charging stations through its onboard navigation system. It is a software flaw, and it is being fixed and updated very soon to the cars. So it's a problem today, but it's not going to be a problem for much longer. Let's just say in another 6 months, if ID.4 doesn't have route planning, well, then maybe I'll start talking about it and making a little bit more noise, because it's very important to have plug-in charge and good route planning. I've ranted for a while. I'm just looking around for food, trying to find anything. Ooh, this is going to be potentially, let's just wait in the car and we'll get something off the highway is what I'm thinking. Highest power I've seen yet, 131 kilowatts. So planning out our next stop here, I want to go someplace pretty special, and that is going to be the Volkswagen Chattanooga factory, which today doesn't build EVs, but one day very soon will start building Volkswagen ID.4s right here in America. This particular one was built in Germany, but in the future, Volkswagen will be producing ID.4 here in the US, and even at a lower price point. This car's $39,900, but the smaller battery US built ID.4 will be $35 grand before federal tax credits, before all the other stuff. Now we'll see if Volkswagen has any tax credits left or what the situation will be then, but at least based off of today's numbers, that's going to be just the most amazing value, especially if you live in New Jersey. You'll get such a good car because that in New Jersey gives you an extra $5,000 off an EV at the point of sale. So it's about 95 to 100 miles up to the factory from here. We're at 40% state of charge. These charging sessions have just been blindingly quick. 11 minutes, we're already topped up. And yeah, we're down to 114 kilowatts. So I think let's go to 50% state of charge. This thing's been pretty efficient, and wind is in our favor. We'll have a little bit of a tailwind on the way up. I use an app called Windy for that. So I think 50%, we'll head out, we'll tour the Volkswagen factory, or at least as much as we can see at night. I've never actually been there before, but I'd love to get a picture of this in front of the Chattanooga factory. And then we will be off to the Electrify America station just a little bit east of there. We are detouring slightly to do this, but I thought it'd be a cool thing to include in the video. join me here at Spring Hill Suites, just down the street from the EA station. I was getting pretty tired on the way over here. We're right by the Volkswagen factory in Chattanooga, and I said, hey, let's just stop in here at the Spring Hill Suites because they have a charger, 8 kilowatt charger, by the way, pretty nice. We'll be topped up in the morning, hopefully with this, shouldn't be an issue. And plugging in at 9% here. Activated the charger through the Blink app, which is a total disaster if you're a guest and not a member. They don't accept Apple Pay. You got to put in like all your billing details, card details. It took forever. So hope they sort that out and can just let you Apple Pay. That would make my life easier. Anyway, I guess blinking blue means it's charging. Let's take a look at the ID.4 and see how well this is working. It shows green. That's good. And let's make sure that we have the car set to charge to 100% because typically Volkswagen recommends an 80% charging limit. I agree with that. And yep, we have 25 miles. It says 9 hours and 10 minutes left to go. So it's going to just charge straight through the night and hopefully be ready to go. It's charging at 27 miles per hour, charged to 100%. You can see this little light here. The red is basically where we are, and this is our charging indicator. It'll just fill up throughout the night on this little ID light so you can peek in. I think that's so neat. I actually don't know if it continues to do that when the car is off, but just a neat little use of this light. This light will also give you direction, so if you have a left turn coming up, you'll just get a whoosh of light going across to the left, which is perfect for me. So this is how you change the charge limit, just like a Tesla, more or less. We're gonna go maxi max on this thing. So let me go check in. We have almost 1,000 miles on the clock as of now. And yep, let's just let this puppy charge up all night. Good morning, just getting up. It's about 8:30 in the morning. You can look outside. It's a beautiful sunny day. I can see the Volkswagen charging down there. So let's go see what it's charged up to. I haven't checked in the app, but my suspicion is it's near full charge, but I don't think it's done charging yet. You know, with big batteries, level 2 chargers, when you're road tripping and you pull in at midnight and you want to leave at 8 in the morning, well, sometimes that's just not enough time to charge these things up. But guess what? It's going to get us more than enough range, I hope at least, to get to the next EA station. Total range confidence here. So let's go down to the car, grab Starbucks first thing, and then head over to Volkswagen Group Plant Chattanooga, where it will be the future home of ID.4. It is an absolutely gorgeous morning here in Chattanooga. What a nice place. Passed some gorgeous homes in the rolling hills last night on the way up here. ID.4 is looking good and happy, connected to its Blink charger. I'm sure it was kind of expensive. We'll take a look at the total cost here in a little bit. The Blink charger app, since I'm a guest, did not update with cost, but I think it shows it's still charging. And it's just a big battery. Again, this thing's 82 kilowatt hour gross, 77 kilowatt hour usable, 92%. So let's unplug and go. All right, let's unplug. Oh wait, sometimes with these cars, because it's charging, I have auto unlock of this cable off, so I have to click the unlock button and then it will let me pull it out. It's a very German way of programming charging cables. Let's see, that was $31.44. Holy shnikes. Come on, Blink, even at a guest rate, I understand it would have been 50% less expensive, and that was not much time at all. That's total ripoff. It says 8.3 kilowatts, but I don't think the car was actually getting that much. I don't know, maybe it was. Wow, brutal. Anyway, good thing we have free charging on Electrify America, right? So totally forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the European vehicles with Type 2 don't have the little latch release like our Type 1 J1772 connectors do, like this right here. So you need to click the unlock on your key and then it will release the charging cable. So sometimes some of that programming gets carried over. Not a big deal. Let's jump in and go to Starbucks.
Good morning, welcome to Starbucks. This is Gary. What can I do to get started for you?
Hey, could I have a Trenta strawberry acai, please?
Trenta strawberry acai refresher. What else for you?
Could I have that with light ice, no water, and no inclusions, please?
All right, what else for you?
That should do it.
541, buddy.
All right, thanks. See you up there. Nice. Oh, yes, there we go. We can start this day off properly. And here we are, taking the exit for Volkswagen Drive. How neat is that? I love that they have the streets named after Volkswagen. This is pretty cool, gotta say. I always love visiting car manufacturing plants and factories or tier 1 suppliers because it's just nice to know where stuff comes from. And so soon when we start to see the entry-level ID.4, it's gonna be coming out right around here. So let's take a right now. I think they make the Passat and the Jetta here currently. It could be some of the SUV products, although I think most of those are in Mexico. So not totally sure, but let's just continue around. And man, this feels very factory-like. It's just like pulling up to any major factory. You have the 4-lane roads, lots of truck traffic, car carriers. Yeah, pretty neat. I love the vibe around stuff like this. And look how beautiful it is off in the distance. Wow. Those rolling hills in the fog. This is gorgeous. And there's the factory. Damn, is that thing just absolutely massive. Holy smokes. All right, let's see if we can find a good photo op. I want to get a picture. They have a nature park. What? That's cool. All right. Ferdinand Pietsch Way. I love this. Okay, let's go. Oh, there's the Volkswagen sign. All right, let's see if we can get a cool picture down this way. Take a look at this over here. So we are at the Volkswagen factory. I guess they build Atlases here too, because there's just a million Atlases in the parking lot. They have a little test track where they take the cars on rumble strips up and over hills just on the side here. This is where the trains go and take them out to port for export or to different cities across the US. And soon they will just be filled with the base version of the ID.4. Now, I'm not sure if they'll be building the 77 kilowatt hour usable pack like this car, the 82 kilowatt hour gross here, but I do know that we'll be getting the smaller battery here for sure. I believe it's 55 kilowatt hour usable. And honestly, that's going to be plenty of range for so many use cases. Personally, I'll always get the longest range possible just because I have this channel. We go on road trips across the country to crazy places. Most people don't do that. And honestly, I see a trend towards smaller battery EVs and just greater frequency of charging stations. We won't get into the weeds. I'm not so sure the whole charging infrastructure problem is as easy to solve as many people think, mainly because there's no free market business case for DC fast charging at this point. But I will say, the cars are getting really good and they do fit the lives of many people. So it's been fun to tour around here at Volkswagen plant Chattanooga. It says we are in a US foreign trade zone and I will get shot or something, I don't know. But I'm just gonna get out of here and we're gonna hit the road off to Colorado. But it's been so fun to see the future birthplace of the ID.4, and man, is this place just absolutely mega huge. Well, I had a good time driving around, checking out the Volkswagen factory. Really always fascinated with stuff like this. Maybe someday we'll get to tour it once ID.4 production starts. I think that'd be kind of fun to bring to you guys. Let's talk about route plans. So I just pulled up the Electrify America app. We're going to be heading towards Nashville and then northwest of there. So there is a charger on the other side of Nashville that we can stop in at. And that's, I think it's Cookville's, and I don't remember. Anyway, the farthest away charger that I think we can reach is 192 miles. It's just northwest of Nashville. We have 213 miles of predicted range. So that would be the best plan, is just to get as many miles out of the way now that we can. It's 9 a.m. and let's plug in about 190 miles. Now, this would be a challenge in my Model 3. My Model 3 does about 200 highway miles on a full charge, and it's a Model 3 Performance. So I'm actually really impressed with the ID.4's highway range. Doesn't seem to be quite 260 mile EPA, which is as expected, but it is really, honestly, fairly good at speed. And I'm not talking like 60 mile an hour highway speeds. We're doing like 80, 85. So let's just head towards Nashville. Worst case, we'll just charge up in Nashville and then hop along. But I'd love to see if we can stretch it that 195 miles or so. And we're not on a full charge. That's the other thing. If we were on a full charge, I know we can make it. We're at 89%. So let's just jump on the road here and head on northwest, or at least in the direction of Nashville, Tennessee. think we were getting like 3.2, 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour last time I checked, but we just came on that big climb. Yeah, 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, even after the big climb out of Nashville. That's impressive. That's roughly 300 watt hour per mile, considering the speeds and how high I just climbed up. That's, whew. On a warm day like this, 89 degrees, you can just rock and roll. I love this thing on a road trip. I don't know what to do with all this range. So heading over to the Walmart, I'm going to plug in. I have to do a quick podcast, so it'll be a plug in 2 seconds, then jump on a podcast. We'll see how long it takes. I might end up overcharging here just because I need to do this quick little podcast with Aptera on our Inside EVs podcast. So if I overcharge a bit, then that's that. I won't be able to show you the plugging in process since I need to do this very quickly. But I think as you just saw, we were at roughly 13% state of charge. Stop at the red light, go quickly, and yeah, you can make right on reds in the US. Now we just need to find the charger. Well, we've been here for about 30 minutes charging up, and 2 people have iced the chargers. Not to be I mean, it is Tennessee. I don't think many people know what these things are. There's actually no signage here at all that I can see that says non-EVs can't park here. So, you know, I guess we'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. They did not know. Anyway, we're already at 79%. We've been here 33 minutes. We've added 54 kilowatt hours. I'm not going to unplug just yet because I haven't had a chance to see where our next stop is. That's pretty amazing, though. I mean, we just finished up that call. I'm hungry. I want to go find food, but the car's all ready to go. So I really want to find a Zaxby's. Whenever I'm in the Southeast, that's my go-to. Zaxby's or Bojangles. We don't have them in Colorado anymore. So let's find our next charging stop on the way northwest, and then we will head out of here. Zaxby's! Yeah, it's been so long. Last time I was on the East Coast, I got Bojangles. That was in the Mustang Mach-E road trip with the Model Y. I think I took the Model Y over there. And so now we get some Zaxby's. This is worth all of the time delay. I'm not in a huge rush to get home, and the chicken fingers and the Zax sauce. Can't wait! We have 189 miles to go, 210 miles predicted. Let's make sure we are in eco mode. Actually, there's something I want to do. I want to go into custom and configure everything. So it has a suspension setting, but I actually don't think this car has active dampers. Steering, comfort, drivetrain, eco, adaptive cruise control, sport. This way it'll close the gaps real quickly. I prefer that. Climate control, we can run eco climate control. The problem with eco mode is the adaptive cruise control system gets really lazy and you end up leaving huge gaps, even with your gap adjustment here set to the closest. You can see there's tons of different adjustment levels here. I can make it bigger here too. So at least with this way, now set in the custom drive mode, everything's eco except for the adaptive cruise control. Is exactly how I like it. So let's jump right on the road now and see if we need to stop in Paducah, which, just to give you a reference as to where we're going, you can see we're in Clarksville here. Here's Evansville. Zoom out a little more. It doesn't let you. Anyway, Nashville's right here. There you go. There's Nashville. That's the biggest city that most people will recognize. Paducah is a charger right there, and then we're going to head up. So we're literally passing one if we need to stop in. But so far, we're looking pretty good. Let's head out. And we have made it to the Walmart here in Mount Vernon. Let's take a look at what percentage we did. This thing goes forever. 7%, not even a problem. Let's just set that back up into 100% just in case something happens. 19 miles projected, just fine. What I'm gonna do is activate this charger. Now the reason that I use this station, and I keep getting stations with the screen on the opposite side, is the ID.4's charging port is here on the back passenger side, which honestly, it's not really that big of a deal. It doesn't bother me that much, but I think I would have preferred it to be on the driver's side. I'll get that plugged in a second, but I wanted to show you, I don't like to block the Chattanooga stations here since there's just one Chattanooga. So I try and use those last if possible, just because a Kia Soul EV first gen or a Leaf pulls up, they won't have the ability to use any other station. And at least this way, I can just pull in normally, plug in, and we're good to go. So let's use this one here, 150 kilowatt station, number 1, and we'll get it charging. All plugged in, it's initiating charging. I love the port on this particular ID.4 is perfect with all of these EA CCS ones. Normally they're a little snaggy and hard to get in and not machined properly, but I think whoever's been manufacturing the ports and the connectors are getting better because these are sliding in easy. Here we are getting 123 kilowatts at 7%. Toasty day out here, and really just absolutely enjoying the drive. That was a long stretch, big distances in this ID.4 Pro. And I gotta say, my gut feeling says I'm doing way more distance between chargers in this car than I do typically in my Model 3 Performance. Just a really, honestly, not bad road tripper. Now, would I love 175, 200 kilowatt charging? Absolutely. But I do like the charging curve. I feel like 15, 20 minutes at a charger and I'm good to hop to the next. It's really, you know, while it's not mind-blowing or pushing the limits, it's totally acceptable. We are performing the good old out-of-spec splash and dash maneuver. Hopefully we'll do more of these. Let's take a look. We just reached 53%. We are down to 78 kilowatts. That doesn't seem right. Doesn't matter. Let's hit stop and unplug. It just rocketed straight up there. We have 130 something miles predicted on our guessometer, but again, it's only 99 miles to our destination on the other side of St. Louis. So I'm going to try and use all of the energy that we have and jump over there. Let's unplug. We are unplugged, I should say. I'm going to jump in the car and let's start charger hopping. It's going to be great. St. Louis, Kansas City, and then west from there. Welcome to the west side of St. Louis. Let's see, we are at 8% state of charge, 20 miles predicted. Plenty, plenty, plenty. Let's get this thing topped up and we are charger hopping. So let's see what number we're at. I guess I could plug in on 3 or 4. Let's plug into 4. Here we go. Wasn't that funny that this one was number 1 at the last one? That's a little bit funny. It's the same site layout, it's just they're numbered differently. And it's getting windy out here. We're starting to get a pretty big headwind, and it looks like it continues all the way over to Colorado right now. We are connecting to vehicle, and I assume all will be good, and we'll start charging here pretty quickly. I'm gonna run in, use the facilities here at Walmart. Walmarts aren't the best place to hang out, but also they kind of have everything you need, so not the end of the world. But I will say, I don't personally enjoy going to all the Walmarts. However, take a look. Panda Express. Not hungry though. Still full from the Zaxby's. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you. Here we go. Let's see what we're getting. 9 kilowatts, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 6, 13, 18, 23, 28, 30. It's ramping up. And I assume it's funny how some stations update in real time. Some do like that screen refresh like we saw at the beginning of the trip. And we're ramping up over 120 kilowatts now, 124 kilowatts, peaking out 125 again is max. Let's let this thing charge up until it starts to taper, and we'll see if we can make it to the next EA station. So I've gone in, used the restroom. We're already at 22% state of charge, doing 129 kilowatts, just shredding. I'm gonna jump in the car, take a look at our next stop. So it'll be 125 miles to our next stop along the way. We're just charger hopping, charger to charger. We are currently at 31% charging, again at 125 plus kilowatts. I know that because the Volkswagen tells me 7 miles per minute. And as long as we're at 7 miles per minute, then I know we're at max speeds. Wish it would show kilowatts, but at least I get some idea of charging speed where I don't have to get out and check every time. We're at 1,416 miles on the car so far. This last leg, let's take a look. Since our charge, pretty inefficient, 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, but I was booking it again. This is the out of spec way. High speed, high charging power equals an overall faster road trip. And at least that's the theory. We've proven it a couple times. Since we started today, I think we've averaged 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. And on the entire trip of 964 miles so far, we've averaged 3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is just like 320 watt hour per mile, 330 watt hour per mile roughly. So great efficiency. Really love this thing. And we'll unplug probably around 55-ish% and head to the next charger. All right, I think we're getting close to the time to unplug this thing. Let's take a look. Yep, 57%. Let's unplug. Now, when I was charging the car, it was showing close to 130 miles of range just before. But then when I actually keyed up the car, there was a little hidden start button. It went up to close to 145 miles of range. And the reason is, I'm pretty sure it does its range calculation in normal mode. And then when it wakes up, it goes into eco mode calculation. So that's another reason that I think it's pretty hard to run out of charge in this car, because it's always a little bit conservative. I really don't have an issue with that. I think that's actually a pretty smart way. I've also kept the climate on. Yeah, so see 141 miles, turn it on, 142, 140. It's always doing little calculations. But anyway, 140 miles indicated, 125 to go. We'll be just fine. Welcome to Walmart here in, not really sure where we are, Columbia, Missouri, maybe? How do I zoom out on this thing? Let's see. Well, let's try the Volkswagen built-in navigation system and map. And here we are. And we want north up because I don't know how to look any other way. And I've zoomed out too much. We are in west of Columbia. We're in Boonville with 4 miles of projected range because I just used all of our available energy up in speed, and that is 2% state of charge. So let's activate this Electrify America charger directly behind the car right here. We have a 350 kilowatt unit. Doesn't matter, no one else is here. There's another 350 available. Once these stations start to get filled up, I would say it would be unfriendly practice for me to plug in my ID.4 at a Electrify America station that's more than 150 kilowatts, given the current charging, software and hardware. Because if Ioniq 5 or Taycan rolls up, then I would be blocking their ability to charge fast. But guess what? We're the only ones here, so I'm gonna charge on number 2. I just opened the Electrify America app, the VW ID.4 charging pass, swiped on this charger. Very simple, takes 2 seconds. Plug and charge is great for new EV owners, but once you figure out how to use the app, it's no problem. There are a couple issues with having to use apps to activate, such as cell service or phones glitch or apps glitch. It would be one less problem if this car had plug and charge, but I'm okay with it. It's not a make or break decision, and it should get software updated pretty soon. We're initiating charging. It says $0. Thank you very much. You do still get charged idle fees with free charging if you're wondering. ID.4 can also take max power from dead. So we should see, again, 120 plus kilowatts here. Let's take a look. And man, I'm just impressed with how reliable and awesome the charging has been so far. Hopefully I don't jinx myself. The cooling, the thermal management systems of the car have been amazing. Been driving fast, been charging fast. Yep, here we are back up to peak speeds at 2%. And yeah, nice little Walmart, really cool Winnebago Class A RV over there. And we're gonna just charge up the ID.4 Pro here in Missouri. All right, folks, I think we have a little bit of a charging bug here. So we're on the Signet high power chargers that caused all of the problems with our Taycan Cannonball. Now I've heard they've got new software, but look at this, 72 kilowatts. Why? Why would it be doing that? Let's see if the fans are on the Volkswagen. And I think this might be the same problem that we had in Florida. So fans definitely on, but not running at max power. What I think I'm gonna do is plug in this number one charger right here next to us. I wonder why it's doing this, 72 kilowatts. I wonder if it did a thing where it overpowered the Volkswagen like it did with the Taycan, and rather than just shutting off the charge like we were having issues with, it just said, hey, limit me to whatever amps would be 72 kilowatts. So I'm gonna activate number one. I try not to take the Chattanooga spots, but that's the benefit of kind of parking close to both of these, and we'll see if we get more than 72 kilowatts. If it goes back to full power, then it's likely a charging station and car communication bug. And if it doesn't, then it means the car's too hot. So we'll do a little bit of diagnosis. 70, yep, so there we go. It wasn't the ID.4 requesting less power. We'll see if it thermal throttles again, but I would say we're back up to where we should be. Just a weird little bug, but that's why you got to keep an eye on charging speed, and that's why it's so important to have a charging speed indication inside the car. Because if I was sitting in there and it shows 6 miles per minute right now, if it didn't show 6 or 7, I would have known something was wrong. That's good. It'd be even better if we had kilowatts. Whoa, camera's going all over the place. So here at 37% state of charge is where it just starts tapering off peak. And then by the time we get down to 50% is kind of about when we want to leave. So we'll probably leave right around or just before 50%. It's 90 miles to Independence, Missouri, which is the next Electrify America charger along the way. Now, typically I'd like to go maybe a little bit more than 90 miles, but the next charger on our route is 168 miles. So that means we would have to charge up to 80 or 90% to make it. I firmly believe it will be faster to unplug here in just a couple minutes, do a quick top up at the Independence charger, again, right off the highway, and then head off past there to, I'm not even sure, somewhere along the way on I-70. It's I-70 the whole way across now. Here at 43%, we're still sitting at around 110 kilowatts. And we'll just go until it tapers pretty much under 100. That's when we're going to leave, or if it starts to hover around 100 kilowatts. I think, yeah, 20% faster is worth the move to go. We can make it there on the charge right now. 45 miles to go, or 45% to go. 90 miles would mean 200 miles on a full charge, which means we'd really have to be ripping it. So we can definitely make it there now. And now it's just a matter of what's going to be the most time efficient. So we're at 107 kilowatts. I think we'll leave and just, yeah, down to 106, 107. I think we'll leave just here in a minute or two. And here at 49%, we are at 100 kilowatts. That's roughly what we'll get at 50, and then it will taper down from there. If I remember correctly, the last charging stop, we were down to 78 kilowatts at 50%. I definitely think there's something thermal going on with these chargers or the car, not sure which, that's causing it to charge differently at different states of charge. Very minor differences. We're talking no more fluctuations than maybe 10 or 12 kilowatts, but there we are, 50%. Let's stop and unplug. And yeah, we just hit 99 kilowatts there, I saw. Just waiting for the latch to be released. Maybe it's a little quicker if I click the unlock on the key. And yep, we're good to go. And hold on, there we go. That back in there. This stupid thing back in here. We are ready to rock and roll. heading off to Independence, Missouri. See you over there. And we have arrived at a Target, not a Walmart, with 11 miles remaining. Oh, I just saw the percentage. I think it's 5%. Doesn't matter. 5%. Perfect. Just kind of kept it at about 80, 81 miles an hour. Just right about the speed limit, just above. And so now let's get it charging up and see how far away the next one is. This is working wonderfully. About an hour and a half in between with 15-minute, 20-minute top-ups. It's absolutely great. Nice. 123 kilowatts as expected at 5%. I think I'll run into Target maybe and see what's going on. We'll see. We are just tapering off of max charge here. Yeah, down to 109 kilowatts. So we're about 15 kilowatts off of peak. And we have enough range to get there. 100 miles indicated, only 82 to get to the station. So fastest thing to do, unplug and go. This is probably our shortest leg of the entire trip. I would love to actually try and push it, but it's 180 something miles. So the leg after this one, once we charge up, that's gonna be probably a 60 or 70% charge. Why didn't this stop? I'm guessing the touch screen doesn't work and I have to use these little buttons. Yep, that's exactly what it is. That's why we were having issues before. Anyway, let's wait for the latch to come undone and then we're good to go. Hello from Topeka, Kansas. 4% arrival, perfectly planned, 8 miles of predicted range, and the weirdest station layout. I think the lines are just wrong. I can't figure out how the heck you're supposed to park here. But anyway, I kind of just stuffed it here and we can pull from any of these stations, I guess. So let's do station number 1, shall we? For whatever reason in the EA app, it showed number 1 was not available, but number 2 is working fine, ramping up over 100 kilowatts now at 4% as expected. And I am ready for food. So what do we have around here? There's a Mexican restaurant on the other side of the parking lot. There's a gas station here and a McDonald's all the way over there. Wrong way. Oh yes, just finished up a little steak and shake, heading back to the car. I think we're charged up 55, 60%, something like that. It's 112 miles to Salina, so let's go do it. And after a long walk across the parking lot, we are making it back to our little ID.4. Let's see what we're charged up to. Here the fan's still running, so everything should be good. Yeah, fingers crossed we are charged up enough to go. I'm sure we are. So 112 miles, really kind of want 55-ish% roughly for that at these high speeds. Oh, 72%, we're good to go. Awesome. So I'm gonna unplug and we're off to Salina. 12:27 in the morning. We are at 14% state of charge. We are just arriving to our hotel here in actually very beautiful Salina, Kansas. We're downtown, like, I don't know, maybe 3 miles off the highway. They have charging stations here. I found this through PlugShare. PlugShare has a really unique feature where you can search just for hotels with charging stations, and I like that quite a bit. So let's get this plugged in now. Maybe we'll have the same situation as last night, where by the time we go in the morning, we will not quite be fully charged, but this will save us a charging stop for sure. At least we'll be able to get on the road. We're going to skip the Salina supercharger, or I should say Electrify America. If you can't tell, I'm pretty tired. You can see the ID light is going. Let's try that thing where we hit the lock button and see if the light stays on. Does not. It does. At least it does for now. I wonder if there's a time limit. I'm certainly not going to wait around to find out. Well, let's unload and head out. Oh, well, it has felt great to sleep in. It's 9:41 in the morning, and I've had one of the best hotel experiences I've ever had. I want to take you on a quick tour of this hotel. I actually don't even remember what it's called. Homewood Suites here in Salina, Kansas. It's downtown. It's not right off the highway. It's about 3 miles from the highway. Homewood Suites by Hilton. And what a gem. I've stayed in some real sketchy hotels along I-70 in Kansas, and, you know, it's difficult to find charging out here. And so to find a hotel this nice in such a beautiful downtown, I had no idea Salina was this cool. So what do you say we go explore? If I find my room key somewhere, I saw something about a free Starbucks drink in there. Yeah, they gave me water bottles, but that's, I think, just because I'm a Hilton dude. Open 7 days a week, complimentary brewed coffee with the purchase of a pastry. How about that? No cash value. Well, that's got some serious value. I wonder if I can make that work for a refresher. If not, no big deal. Super nice. Let me show you around my room. So here is the view from the outside. Really nice little downtown area. It looks, honestly, pretty nice. I don't know how else to describe it. Forgive me for not making the bed. Yep, they only had the 2 bedrooms left, but it was not bad. I think I only paid like $110 to stay here. You have one shower here, which actually I totally forgot about. Holy smokes, I didn't realize. So I showered in here this morning because I was like, I'm gonna shower, so I'll go shower. But I guess this is the preferred shower location. The only thing I don't like about this bugs me about showers. Welcome to Kyle's Hotel Reviews. I don't like how you have to go in there, turn the water on, and then instantly get sprayed with cold water. They need to have the spigot in a place where you don't get affected. So maybe I did make the right choice. Anyway, really nice lighting in here. Everything's gorgeous, nice room. But then this isn't just the hotel room. I have all of this too. I have a whole living room, lounge area, the same view, I assume, out the windows. Let's take a look. This is like the new place to stay going across I-70 in Kansas. A full kitchen, a desk. Look, we have a stovetop, a microwave, a dishwasher, a refrigerator, all for like $110, I think, with tax, everything in. I'm just like amazed. And there's a car charger outside. I don't think the car is finished charging though. I think there needs to be 80 amp charging at hotels. I'm sort of getting more and more convinced of this with more higher power, higher charged power. What am I trying to say? Higher battery capacity EVs. All right, let's go to Starbucks and get this day going. Nice elevator. It's the new Schneider elevators. These things are freaking awesome. And they have a Starbucks ad. They know who they're targeting. And it's kind of neat. You need to use your room key to get up to the room. I've never seen that in sort of regional hotels, usually in big cities though. Look how nice this is. So beautiful. We're charged up to 91%, I believe. Again, a case for faster onboard chargers and faster AC charging right here. Don't need it for daily use, but you do need it for, you know, sort of kind of everything else. Have to click the unlock, that European weird coding. There we go. And now let's rock and roll. Interesting, we're down to 89%. I wonder if the BMS was a little confused because it was indicating 93, then 91, and now 89%. It's possible that the air conditioning, when I was preconditioning, did draw that much power, but I don't think that's really truly likely. So let me take you on a quick little tour of this hotel. Man, this is a beautiful, beautiful little area. So I don't know if they're doing like a revitalization project of Salina, but I have to say, normally when I come to Kansas, I'm trying to get out of Kansas. And this is the first time that I'm like, hey, I would actually kind of want to go maybe spend a couple days here and explore all the little shops and stuff. I don't know, it seems kind of cool. Look at this downtown area. This is such a beautiful downtown strip. There's the hotel with the Starbucks in the bottom. Yes, I got Starbucks. And yeah, sorry about the bugs on the windshield. I will try and find a spot to clean them. I know everyone complains about bugs on the windshields in our videos, but this is just a nice little town, gotta say. Anyway, we are hitting the road, heading west on I-70. Not sure where we'll charge, but we'll start figuring that out when we get on the road. Because I was driving this thing so aggressively last night, it's predicting such little range on a near full charge. And that's my fault because I was just shredding it over here. I'm sure that will increase as we drive more normally today. We have somewhere around the 50% region stopping to charge here. We actually probably could have made it to the next one, which was about 100 miles from here, but there was like 9,000 cops on the road, and one guy was just holding up a traffic jam that was about 3 miles long. And I'm like, you know what? I want to stretch my legs, use the restroom, and I figured we'll just time that with a little bit of a top-up charge. Then hopefully we can let all that mess get ahead and then shred along. So let's activate this charger, plug this thing in. We're not going to get peak speeds, but hey, may as well, when you have to stop, time it with a charging point. We are plugging in 44% and we are at 94 kilowatts. I think normally it does a little bit more than that, but the battery's probably still a little bit cold. We did have a ton of wind and yeah, just not too bad. So we'll see how this goes, and I'm gonna run into Walmart for a few minutes and this will just be a quick top up. Looks like we have some gnarly weather coming in. We've been here just for a few minutes, 8 minutes. We're already up to 60%. We're still doing 80 kilowatts, not bad, but I think we're good to go. So 60%, 105 miles to get to Colby, Kansas. And we are charger hopping. This is how it should be. Now, if I had received a 100% charge last night, if that hotel charger got me an extra 10%, we would not have had to stop here. I also could have hypermiled it a bit, but hey, we're in Kansas, open road, big speed limits, fast ID.4. This thing is very comfortable at speed. Top speed is 100 miles per hour, so I'm not absolutely shredding. But hey, this thing is unbelievably stable at 100. Wish it would do like 130, because I think that would be a real good top speed for a car like this. 100 is just a bit compromised, I think, personally. But that won't affect most people. Foot on the brake starts it up. Don't even need to hit a button. Into drive. Drive, by the way, is like no regen until you touch the brake pedal. B mode's more like one pedal driving. So it doesn't come all the way to a stop yet, but that might come through software in the future. So let's utilize that amazing turning circle here. Just the best turning radius. And off we go to Colby, Kansas. And we have made it and plugged in here at Walmart. We plugged in at 13%, kind of took it easy. So Alyssa's parents are taking their ID.4 on a road trip, and I had to walk them through their charging plan and get their CarPlay set up, and they really don't know how to use their car. So I'm like, here's what you need to do. And I just kind of drove very, very normally. But something a little concerning is going on here where we are capped at 90 kilowatts. Can't get any more. So what I'm gonna do is try to activate number 4, that charger there, and see if we can get back up to our normal 120 plus kilowatt charging that we're used to on the ID.4 from our road trip so far. And I've switched stalls over to this one here, and our charging, I was just on the phone, went right up to 130 kilowatts. Not sure why we didn't get max speed on this particular station, but that's why you always need to monitor your charging speed. Again, 90 kilowatts, not the end of the world, but we're getting at least 40 to 45% faster charging just by switching stalls. That will more than make up for the amount of time it took to unplug and replug back in. So, nice day out here. Windy, of course, as it always is in Kansas at a Walmart. And yeah, just gonna charge up and we'll figure out where the next one is. Almost home, getting there. Can't wait to get back and see the dogs. Charging up here in Colby, we have 110 miles to the I-70 diner in Colorado. We'll be crossing into Mountain Time Zone here along the way. I believe it's just as we exit Colby, we'll cross into Mountain Time Zone. Very much looking forward to getting back on my time zone. And yeah, just having a blast. Wish I lived farther away. I don't want the trip to end. I'm having so much fun. We're charged up to 52%. We're doing 4 miles per minute, according to the Volkswagen. I don't know if that miles per minute is based off of driving usage, but I will say now that we're driving, or you know how the range is adjusting, I think it's based off of your driving history, because as we're really picking up the speeds and we have a big headwind here in Kansas, even at 130 kilowatts delivered, I haven't seen 7 miles per minute. I've seen 6. So I think that miles per minute is based off of the Guessometer, which that's pretty annoying. So anyway, let's, weird quirks here with the Volkswagen. Just give me a kilowatt screen. It'll make my life so much easier. At least in the Electrify America app, reliably now you can monitor your charging speed, and I think it updates every minute. So that's not terrible. You don't have to get out and look. You can just look in your EA app. Now we are, yep, going to charge up to 60%, 110 miles to go. We'll be ready to head to Colorado, back home. And here we are, rolling up on 60%, just crossed over. Look at that, good timing. Let's click the little button, and we are doing 83 kilowatts at 60%. We'll hit stop. Thank you very much for the juice. And I finally got the login for the Volkswagen stuff, so I'm using the Volkswagen Press login. Why won't you unlatch? There we go. And it's $0. So we charged up from 20 to 60% in 17 minutes. $0, of course, 30 kilowatt hours. Honestly, you know, while it's not rapidly fast, maybe it's just because I'm so busy, but man, it's feeling like you don't need much faster charging than this. Don't quote me, because I know I'm going to say we need faster charging. But I'm just saying, on this particular trip, I think I'm working so much while I'm stopped that I feel like I can't get anything done, to be honest. But this is the out of spec way. We're going 137 miles predicted. What mode are we in? Comfort. Let's go eco. Nah, let's go comfort. Then we can just do some good speeds on the way. Arrived to the I-70 diner, typical out-of-spec style, 1%, 3 miles remaining. Love this spot. I've never actually been able to charge here, so I'm gonna, whoa, super windy. I'm gonna get this thing plugged in right over here on the chargers. It says this one is unavailable. Let's see if this one is available. Fingers crossed, I'm sure it will be. We are good. All right, I'm gonna get it activated, plugged in, and start this puppy charging from a dead battery. And we are connected and plugged in at 1%. Let's take a look to see how quickly we're going. Really nice install. Love this. Right off the highway. Extremely convenient. Cool little diner. I might end up going in here for a little snack, and maybe we can even make it home on one charge. I am starving. So we'll just let this thing charge up. We're in no huge rush. and then we'll figure out our next stop, or maybe it'll just be home. 1% ramping up, should do 120 plus kilowatts here at 1%. So it does its little dip, and now it'll start to climb 50 plus kilowatts. We'll see if it dips down. I'll keep an eye on this because now that it's starting to get a little warmer out, yeah, 86 kilowatts, it should be doing more than that. I'll see if that doesn't increase. I'm gonna switch chargers. So it's crazy windy out here, but I just checked the Electrify America app and it was still charging pretty slowly. So I'm not sure why that is the case. Yeah, 89 kilowatts, doing the same thing it did before. Okay, so here we plugged in and it's doing the same 88 kilowatt charging or so. Now I'm gonna move over to a different unit. We'll try that 350 kilowatt on the end and see what it does. Well, I was really looking forward to getting a good lunch in, but I haven't had a chance. So I switched stalls over to the 350 kilowatt unit here. Unlike we've seen in the past, we're still limited to 90 kilowatts, and we're still doing it now. And I think we're down actually into the 70 kilowatt range at 62%, which is what it should be at. But that's very weird. I think it may have something to do with temperature, or another thought could be perhaps this site, because it's such in the middle of nowhere, has like a total output power that it can actually output without just totally bricking the grid. I don't know. Definitely not cool, and different behavior, because normally an unplug and a replug or a switch stalls always up to this point got us back up to 125 kilowatts. Not sure. Anyway, I just left it plugged in because I've been on the phone with Alyssa's parents at their Electrify America station, and because this car doesn't have plug-in charge, her dad doesn't know how to use his phone. Sorry for throwing you under the bus there, but it was just like, okay, open the app, don't plug in first, because he's like, oh, I'm plugging in, and then he's trying to open Electrify America, find the charger and swipe. The problem is that would take him 2 minutes, then the charging session would time out and the car would go red and it wouldn't let him charge. So I was like, just don't plug it in, find the charger you're at, and then go. And he was thinking that the numbers here on the chargers, you can see each port. Which way am I trying to go here? Okay, so there's the left one and this one. This is number 1, that's number 2. Meanwhile, the charging number that you have to swipe on is up here. And so it was just a disaster. So I was like, finally, I'm like, just FaceTime me, and I can't activate the charger for them because I'm geographically too far away, because you need to be within a bubble. So plug and charge can't come soon enough for these types of situations. Once they figure out how to do it, they'll be good, but they're just not great with their phones. They just switched from Android to iPhone. They're trying to figure everything out, and that took, probably 25 minutes just to get them plugged in and charging. You know, when I show up to a charger, it's instant. I'm swiped on the app, plug in and go, because I know how to use it. But there, I guess, you know, a lot of the steps that I take for granted as to usability, which is just opening the app and plugging in, you know, that's easy for me to operate a phone. It's not for some people. So this is, you know, barriers to entry. They'll figure it out. They got it. And they plugged in at 5%. Typical out of spec road tripping. I gave them the farthest away charger I thought they could make it to, and they had plenty of buffer, and they felt good about that. No range anxiety. He said he was just monitoring his speed so that he would pull in right around dead. So that worked out great. They're in Emporia, Virginia right now, just north of the out of spec track that you guys know, and they're heading up to Rhode Island. So wish them the best of luck on this trip. And Alyssa's flying out there, I think, tomorrow, so maybe we'll even get some clips of them with their new ID.4 for a little mini road trip video with her in the car. Man, glad I'm not there. Almost home, but man, this has been the worst charging stop of the trip in terms of speed. I'm hungry, but we're kind of at the point where we can leave now and just go. I don't want to wait until we have enough range to get home to Fort Collins. We'll just stop at one of the chargers outside of Denver for like 5-10 minutes just to get enough to go. So let's head out. We have about 67% state of charge. Been here for quite some time, and yep, I think that's the case. Now, I could just stop and eat, but I kind of want to get home. So we have enough range to get on the road, and it's 180 miles in total to get home. So I think we'll just need like a 10-minute top up at our next stop. And here we go, merging onto I-70 West for the first time. Or I should say for the last time, because then we'll be going on I-25. Wide open throttle. We got some energy to burn. We have about a 10-mile buffer. Let's get up to speed, and maybe we'll stop in Westminster, one of those around North Denver, just for a quick top up to get home to Fort Collins. All right, loving it. Couldn't ask for anything better. And welcome to just outside of Denver. We're on the north side, the northernmost EA station currently installed in Colorado, I believe, or at least on this stretch of I-25. There's another one going in Loveland, which will be super convenient coming up here soon. I'm swinging by Panda Express getting some food, no complaints here. And then just behind us in the next parking lot over is the EA station. So I figured I'll eat some lunch while we're charging. I'm just gonna run through the drive-through now. So this works perfectly. Yeah, the EA is just over there. Man, check out this Sprinter. That thing is so sick. Nice. Coming to a channel, maybe on YouTube, maybe sooner than you think. Wink, wink. Nice little shopping center. We have a King Supers over here, a whole bunch of good stuff. And there are the chargers. Love it. So many DC fast chargers in the Denver area. They're only 150 kilowatt ones, but that works for me, to be honest. Let's back this thing on in. I am not lined up properly, but that can be changed just with the turn of a steering wheel. And someone left a can there. Let's get this thing plugged in. I think we're at 7%. Well, it's the first time on this trip that we've been able to use the new Signet DC fast chargers. And in we go somehow. Come on. There we go. Nice. That's a nice install. Fresh pavement, new area coming in. Only problem is it's about 2 miles off the highway, but this is not intended to be a highway charging solution. That's because they're only 150 kilowatts. The 350s are only for highway locations. So we'll let this initiate and charge. The 150 will max out the Volkswagen's charging curve, of course, so it's no problem for us. Here we are ramping up back to the speeds we should be getting. 123 kilowatts right there. Nice. We don't need much of a top up. I figured I'll just eat my lunch. Whatever percentage we're at once I'm done eating is what we will leave with, enough to get home. I think I really only need about 15, maybe 20% to get up to Fort Collins. It's not that far, but I'll just eat some lunch and then take the free juice at 124 kilowatts right now and charge it up to full overnight. Well, finished lunch as quickly as I could. Now we are all charged up. 44%, more than enough to get home. A little bit of unplug action, wait for it to click off. You have to wait for cable cooling to stop. Come on, release. It's up to the charger, release it. There we go. And we're good to go. This back in its port. Nice. Off we go to home. That was it. Let's go home. Well, guys, it's been a few days since the trip. I arrived home wonderfully. Amazing trip, actually. Still have the ID.4. It's actually been a few weeks later, and really enjoying that car. So keep an eye on for more EV adventures here. Of course, we have, like I alluded to, Sprinter adventures coming, etc., and more dog stuff. Sorry to wake you up, Ellie, by talking. I know, I'm a terrible owner. I should have let her sleep. Anyway, very impressed here with the charging infrastructure. The car itself is just amazing, really good car, and hopefully Volkswagen supports it with constant over-the-air updates. Hopefully you guys enjoy these videos. I know this was a really long one, but if you stuck through it, that's pretty amazing, because I was even having trouble editing it. But yeah, thanks for watching. As always, you guys make trips like this possible, and huge thanks to Volkswagen for providing the vehicle for this trip. Again, not sponsored by Volkswagen. They just said take the car on the trip, and that's exactly what I did and showed you what happened. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one.